The Sigourney Savages are brought to you by the Packwood Locker of Packwood, Iowa, Hinshaw Trailer Sales of Richland, Iowa, and Smithburg Auto of Fairfield, Iowa, as well as the Cedar Rapids Titans arena football team that can be seen all spring long on Brown Guy Radio starting February 15th. We got Coach Eslick on the phone. Welcome to the program, Coach.
Thanks for having me, Dave. Appreciate it.
Well, you got a nice win last night. I just want to apologize to everybody. I was going to do the JV and the varsity game Saturday, but about 10:30 in the morning, I got sick with the flu. Boy, the flu's been hammering. It's been going through this area like a Texas brush fire in the high wind there. But I asked you a little bit before we got on there, since you haven't had too much problems with the flu in particular, but you do get a nice little win. Tell our listeners who you played last night and what the final score was.
Yeah, first off, glad that you're starting to feel better there. And yeah, we missed you on Saturday, but certainly glad that you didn't have to make the trek there and then get sick there. And so glad you're feeling better. And yeah, it's been, we lost the game Monday night, or not lost the game, but got a game postponed Monday because the same thing. Highland has had influenza A really bad on their team. And obviously they made a nice decision for us to not come and, run into each other for 2 hours and give us the flu. So it's nice of them to do that. And hopefully we'll find a date here later in the season to get that one made up. And but yeah, it's going around, unfortunately. And to answer your question, we went to BGM last night. I had a conference game. We won 69-39 was the final score over BGM, and I thought we played well. I mean, we were kind of able to use our depth, and I thought our defense was forced a lot of turnovers and got a lot of good looks. And John Berg had another nice game. I think he had 20 points for us, and Solon in double figures as well. And then we just got a lot of good balance. It was nice to see, we had a lot of guys chipping in with somewhere between, 5, 6, 7, 8 points, and those add up pretty quick. So we were able to get everybody in the game, and nice conference win to get us to 7-2 in the conference.
You know what I like about Brooklyn?
What's that?
They got that Denny's. I think it's the closest Denny's to me. I like that Grand Slam. Yeah, it's right on the interstate right there. Yeah, that's what I like. Anyway, I got sidetracked a little bit. Well, sounds like you put plenty of points on the board there, and you get a win. So where you stand in your record in the conference now?
Yeah, we're 7-2 in the league. Losses to Linville Sully, and then we lost on Friday night to Montezuma on the road. So 7-2, sitting in third right now in the league, and Montezuma has one loss in the conference. Linville Sully has none, and so gonna need a little bit of help. We can help ourselves. We got Linville Sully at home here in a couple weeks, but I got a lot of business to take care of before then, and hopefully we can.
Okay, tell us in the last 3 games there, the Montezuma, the Pekin game, and this game with BGM, has there been anybody that's been kind of hot with the shooting?
Shooting's been one thing we've been struggling with a little bit, unfortunately. Haven't shot the ball great from the perimeter. I thought that last night we saw some guys that had the ball go through the hoop that hadn't a little bit. Jordan Trummel knocked a 3 down. Carson O'Rourke made a 3. Ike Molnex made a 3. So it was nice to see. We got a little confidence last night. But, really, I think Hunter Sellers has really been playing well for us off the bench. Not for the perimeter so much, finishing around the basket and rebounding. And I think he had close to a double-double on Saturday at Pekin. I know he had 10 rebounds. I think he had 8 points. And I thought he played really well at Montezuma as well. And then again last night at BGM. So, and I thought Landon Fish has done some really good things for us. I thought he played well on Saturday at Pekin and then again last night. And so, trying to create a little bit of that depth. We kind of know we're going to get out of John Solon most nights. Braden Wood's been really solid for us as well. And then, we got a lot of other guys. We got Landon Conrad, Ike Molnex, Jordan Trummel, Chase Clarahan, and just the guys we hadn't mentioned. So we've got a lot of depth. We're still kind of just trying to figure out. I know we're about halfway through the season, but we're still trying to kind of figure out how all these pieces fit together and what gives us the best chance night in, night out.
All right. Well, anything else about that last week there that you want to talk about? We didn't get a chance to talk about any rebounding or anything? Or?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think to be completely honest, it was a very disappointing weekend for us. we knew that we were gonna play two good teams, and we were obviously hoping to win both, and kind of hoping to have that worst. Maybe we can go 1-1, and then we go 0-2, and I mean, there's no shame in losing either of those teams. They're both good teams. We were. It's kind of been the story of our season. We've had the lead in the second half in all three of our losses, and just fourth quarter rolls around. We played a really poor. We had the lead. In the third quarter against Monty, I think we got outscored by 15 in the fourth to lose by 15. And then, in the Deacon game, we had the lead after, I think, the first three quarters. And then, again, just couldn't quite find a way to win it at the end. So a little disappointing. Just we just haven't been able to close out games. And, that's something that we've got to learn from. And hopefully we can, we'll be in more tight games the rest of the year. We have some really good teams on our schedule, starting with North Mahaska on Friday. And, we know we're going to be in some tight games, so we just gotta find a way to win some of these closer games.
Well, I'll tell you what, man. I was watching the game. It was back and forth. I was just wishing I was there because I'd love to have that on Round Guy Radio, that game. But Solon Yates, man. I mean, you finally got down by 4 as the hammer hit one of two and put him up. They're up by 2 scores. I think they got this, and then like 3 seconds later, Solon Yates nails a 3. I mean, the kid's got ice water in his veins. I thought that was, whether it won the game or not for you, man, that was nails the way he did that. What do you think there?
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, that's the guy that we want taking shots for us. At the end of the game, especially if it needs to be a 3. Solon's our best shooter, and he's been really good for us all year. And yeah, he stepped up and made a huge shot to get us to win one. And you got to give credit to Pekin. I mean, the Adam kid, he coming into the game, he was I think 6 for 23 from the free throw line. And we told our kids before the game, if it's at the end of the game and we need to foul someone, statistically that's the guy that you want to foul, and you got to give him credit because he stepped up to the free throw line and he made 3 of 4 in that last minute of the game to kind of ice it and give them the win. And I mean, you play the odds and you play the statistics, and a lot of times that will work for you, but doesn't always, unfortunately. And it didn't for us on Saturday. And we got a good look at the end from Solon as well. That's who we wanted shooting it, and he got a pretty clean look to tie it and just didn't go. And with basketball, unfortunately, it's kind of a make or miss game sometimes. And and Pekin didn't shoot the ball great either on Saturday. Neither team really did. But you go on the road against a good team and you shoot. I think we shot 14 for 53 from the field. You're just not going to win very many games doing that. And especially a team that's good defensively, like Pekin is, you're not going to be able to get it inside and just get layups all night. You're going to have to make some shots from the perimeter. And unfortunately, on Saturday, we just weren't able to.
Well, you mentioned some of the games you got coming up here, but could you walk me through what you got going next week?
Yeah,
Well, Friday and next week too, I guess, or maybe you got a Thursday game. I don't know.
Yeah. We it's a busy stretch for us, so we're still trying to find a makeup for that Highland night. But we got North Mahaska coming to we got a huge homestand coming up. So I mean, if you want to get out and watch some Sigourney basketball in Sigourney, you're gonna have a lot of opportunities here. I think 8 of our next 9 games are at home. We've been on the road a ton here early in the year. I think 7 out of our first 10 have been on the road, and now we're gonna have a big home stretch here where we play a bunch of home games in a row. And it starts with North Mahaska on Friday. We got them coming to our place. And then the next week we've got Colfax Mingo and then WACO coming for a non-conference game the next week on Thursday. So 3 straight home games for us, starting with North Mahaska, Colfax, and then a big non-conference game with WACO coming to town. So a big stretch for us. I mean, they all are at this point of the year. You just got to try to stack as many wins as you can because that playoff bracket's going to be coming out here pretty soon, and you want to, your goal is to give yourself as many home games as you can in the postseason. You get a top 4 seed, you're getting at least 1. You get a top 2 seed, you're getting at least 2. And if you get a 1 seed, you're guaranteeing yourself 3 games at home in the postseason. And that's a huge advantage. I mean, I think basketball probably is the biggest home court advantage. Just, you're used to shooting that on your rims. You're used to, all your pregames, your routine, and you got your crowd. And so you want to get as many home games as you can in the postseason. And that's kind of where we've turned our attention now is, hey, let's stack as many wins as we can here and then try to give ourselves a resume that the state thinks we can have some games at our place in February.
Well, what's the situation on the JV games you got coming up with WACO? And not Friday night, I got a game Friday night, but that next week.
Yeah, I think when we went to Colfax earlier in the year, they played JV, so I think they'll have one on Tuesday. And then, as far as I know, Colfax has one, or excuse me, WACO has one as well on Thursday. So yeah, they'll both be in the small gym. Those are both boy girl doubleheaders. So when we have games at our place, we have the junior high boys playing or the JV boys playing at the same time as the varsity girls in our small gym, and then we flip. And have the JV girls go over to the small gym and the varsity boys to the big gym. So, yeah, I think as far as we know now, JV is kind of one of those things, especially this time of year. We just last week we lost one because of variety of factors. But every once in a while you'll hear the day of or the day before, like, hey, sorry, we've got this kid out, that kid out. We're not able to make JV work. So we're hoping we can get as many of those in as we can, and we're planning on it for these next 3 games for sure.
Well, I'll try to shoot over there Thursday and make this up. I like the Waco Sigourney matchup. That gets me, gets me feeling warm and fuzzy there. So anyway, I don't got any more questions for you, Coach. Thanks for taking a little bit of time with us and catching up with us. And once again, I want to apologize to everybody. It was a tragedy on the programming part of it that I was not there for that terrific game. Thanks for being with us, Coach.
Yeah, glad you feel better, and thanks for checking in. We'll chat with you later.